ค่ะ Minister of Finance Mr. อาคมเติมพิทยาภัยศิษฐ์ Governor Bank of Thailand ดร.เศรษฐพุทธสุทธิวาฒนฤพุทธ Chairman of the Board of the Stock Exchange of Thailand ดร.ประสานไตรรัตน์วรกุล President of the Stock Exchange of Thailand ดร.ภากรปีตะทวัชชัย and Chairman of Association of Securities Companies Mr. พิเชษฐ์สิทธิอำนวย Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to you all to Thailand Focus 2022. My name is Kamonchonok Pukhayaporn and I am delighted to be your MC throughout the day. This year marked the 16th year of our flagship event of the Thai capital market and the longest portfolio investment conference in Thailand. This year's theme is A New Hope, which highlight post-pandemic Thailand and the next steps in creating new opportunities and for growing. Thailand Focus 2022 is arranged by the Stock Exchange of Thailand with a kind collaboration from ASCO, Association of Securities Company, and Bloomberg as our media partner. The Stock Exchange of Thailand is also an official communication partner of APEC 2022 Thailand. Ladies and gentlemen, may I now invite Dr. Phakon Pita Thwachai, President of the Stock Exchange of Thailand, to deliver his welcome address.
Minister of Finance Mr. อาคมเติมพิทยาภัยศิษฐ์ Governor Bank of Thailand Dr. เศรษฐพุทธสุทธิวาฒนฤพุทธ Distinguished guests, it is my great pleasure to extend a warm greeting to all of you at Thailand Focus, the Stock Exchange of Thailand's annual flagship event to showcase the Thai capital market to investors all over the world. After 2 years of virtual activities amid the global pandemic, the Thailand Focus 2022 event is returning to a physical setting. The New Hope is the theme for this year, and it is not just that it's the gimmick that we are a fan of Star Wars, but we do believe in the storyline of the New Hope. Today, Thailand Focus will demonstrate the resilience and ability of the Thai economy and capital market to withstand challenges, successfully recover from the pandemic, adapt to the new possibilities, and create businesses for the new economy and global trend, and once again serve as an appealing investment venue for international investors. In the afternoon session, you will observe how Thailand traditional business adjusts to the new normal environment. For example, food tech, which is the core strength and future growth engine of the Thai economy, is now emerging with new industry trends that focus more on health-conscious food, such as plant-based meal and medicine food. For tourism, a new tourist chapter of health and medical living and long-term residence is growing. The tourism industry now capitalizes on Thailand's strength in line with global demographic change. Also, you will get a flavor on how Thai new economy businesses are growing and advancing. We have seen in recent years the new breed of companies that have been listed on the stock exchange. For example, those in the digital transformation, those in new S-curve industry. It's also evident that investors have asked to meet with small and medium-sized businesses, especially in the new economy industry, in a strikingly greater number. In addition, recent crisis and disruption suggest that the corporate need to adapt in order to keep up with the major global dynamics. It is important to follow sustainability principle and take into account not only the ESG factor, but also flexible and agile component. Thai companies are transformed rapidly as they embrace a more diverse, sustainable, and innovative strategy approach to building resilient, agile business that can meet existing and future economic opportunity and challenges. Thai companies nowadays do not rely on a single industry anymore. Diversification and innovation provide a business the ability to grow and endure. To illustrate, you will have a chance to listen to how the energy industry is expanding into other industries such as telecommunication and digital asset industry. The oil refinery is now having not just the oil refinery, but also have battery and electricity production. Cement producers are now developing into a new value chain of industry. We believe that Thailand Focus 2022 will increase investor confidence and point to new opportunities in Thailand. You will witness Thailand new hope from the strength of the Thai capital market and Thai listed company. It's exciting trend that you may see in both traditional new and truly new batches of company and their adaptation to the world of the future. That's about the new hope to be explored at the Thailand Focus 2022 from a fantastic lineup of speakers and panelists. I wish to conclude my remark by saying, may the Thailand Focus be with you always. The next session will be the keynote address by His Excellency Minister of Finance, Mr. Akom Termpithaya Phaisit. Please welcome His Excellency.
สวัสดีครับ The Governor of Bank of Thailand, the Chairman of Board of Directors of Stock Exchange of Thailand, President of Stock Exchange of Thailand, Excellencies, Ambassador, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. A very good morning to all of you, both in this room and online. First of all, let me thank the Stock Exchange of Thailand in inviting me again to deliver opening speech and keynote address. The topic today is very timely to talk about the new hope or the future of Thailand after facing difficulties over the last 2 years of pandemic. Last year on 17th of August, I spoke in this forum about the economic trend and future of Thai economy in 2022, in which we expected our economy would gradually recover, and we did it. We could witness the 1.5% of GDP growth last year, which was better than most of analysts expected, but it was still below what the optimism of 4 to 5%. The reason was mainly due to the continued spreading of subvariant of the COVID-19. In November last year, the government began to reopen our economy by introducing the Phuket Sandbox and later expanded to other tourist sites. Also, all restriction measures on overseas traveling had been removed in early February of this year to facilitate our tourism industry. Ladies and gentlemen, the last 2 years has been challenging to say the least. The outbreak of the COVID-19 has had an immense impact on the Thai economy. As we were about to emerge from the pandemic, we were untimely faced with unprecedented geopolitical tensions that caused a sharp rise in commodity prices, putting more upward pressure on inflation and the overall economy. In spite of this, the Thai economy has been resilient and continue on its path towards sustainable recovery, following the return of economic activities from export of goods, particularly last year, and tourism and domestic demand. Therefore, As we approach the last quarter of this year, we expect that the Thai economy will continue to expand gradually, which will bring the full year of 2022 growth to the neighborhood of 3 to 3.5%. Ladies and gentlemen, the Minister of Finance has been playing an important role in supporting economic recovery. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the Ministry of Finance implemented 2 major emergency loan decrees with a total amount of 1.5 trillion Thai baht. The expenditures from the emergency decree help relieve the impact on all affected citizens, provided adequate healthcare equipment, including vaccines, as well as programs to enhance the purchasing power of the consumer to stimulate domestic spending. Moreover, the government recognized that the public, especially the lower income individuals, have been seriously affected by the rising cost of living. That is why we have urgently implemented various targeted measures, including subsidizing cooking gas for street vendors and state welfare card holders, regulating cooking gas prices, subsidizing petrol for motorcycle taxis, subsidizing NGV for taxi drivers, maintaining diesel price and retail NGV price, subsidizing electricity bill and the diesel excise tax cuts. Regarding the financial measures, the Ministry of Finance, through the policy guidance to the specialized financial institution and in close collaboration with the Bank of Thailand, have launched various programs to alleviate the burden of the private sector's cost of living and cost of doing business, especially household, SMEs, and corporates, and additionally enhance the financial liquidity by providing soft loans, credit guarantees, and debt restructuring. Ladies and gentlemen, despite fears of world recession, our economy will remain strong with stability, both physical and financial. This year, our government revenue collection will be on target. I can confirm. The public debt ratio will be within the new ceiling. As of June, our public debt level is 61.06% of GDP, as compared to the ceiling of 70%. On the issue of the monetary policies, big thanks to the Bank of Thailand that has been implementing highly accommodative monetary policy in response to the COVID-19. This has kept borrowing costs historically low, allowing the government to fund additional stimulus measures, as well as the private sector to recover from the pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, let me now turn to sharing views about Thailand's future beyond COVID-19. In a way, this has provided us with an opportunity to readjust our growth model. We can no longer focus on growth and ignoring the alarming issues of social disparity and climate change. Therefore, the government has put more focus on how to transform the economy towards a high value-added economy that is more balanced, inclusive, and environmentally friendly. In this regard, the government's guiding policy on the bio-circular green economic model is now becoming the national agenda. This underscores the government commitment in working towards the target of zero carbon emission in 2065. The 4 strategic areas for the BCG model are based on economic foundation and strengths, namely food and agriculture, medical and wellness, energy, material, and biochemical, including bioplastic, and tourism and creative economy. Following the mentioned guiding policies, the government's agenda is now to create more growth in the future. This is very much in line with the discussion in the next session, I believe. There are 4 areas that I would like to mention, area of focus to be addressed as follows. First, the government will continue to invest in infrastructure in all areas, not only physical infrastructure, but also invest in human capital and digital technology and innovation. We could see for the last 8 years, our investment in infrastructure is highest amount over the decade. But still, I think we believe that we still have lots of the infrastructure projects, particularly in transport sector, energy, and public utilities that needs to be accelerated. Second, the government, together with the private sector, is fully committed to accelerate the development process in the Eastern Economic Corridor, or EEC, where the area will create our new growth and our 12 new targeted industries. Third, the government will further create the quality green growth in our economy in all sectors: agriculture, manufacturing, and services. For example, electric vehicle is one of our target industry that all tax and non-tax supporting measures have been endorsed by the cabinet. And fourth, financial resource mobilization is needed to support this new growth model. Financing should be geared to more green investment. It should be noted that the Minister of Finance was successfully issues the sustainability bond for the first time in 2020 to finance the mass transit system projects in Bangkok. And we will do more. Our ASEAN friends are now on the same track. On the other hand, financial inclusion and accessibility are keys to close the gap between financial institutions and SMEs, startups, and grassroots people. Other sources of fund, particularly capital market, venture capital, and crowdfunding, are also supported by the government through the tax measures. Ladies and gentlemen, before I finish, I would like to mention that now we are about to turn the corner of COVID-19 challenges to opportunities. The government's fiscal position, again, I would like to mention, remains strong as reaffirmed by all credit rating agencies. Our debt to GDP has risen, but remains low by international standards, with ample fiscal space remaining if more stimulus is needed. This puts us in a sound position to provide the financing required to transform the economy going into the post-COVID-19 world. To conclude, I believe that all of you will gain valuable insights on the outlook of the Thai economy from many prominent speakers today. I would also like to take this opportunity to express my gratitude to you all for your interest in Thailand, and I encourage you to be a part of the new exciting chapter of transforming of the Thai economy. I wish the conference today a great success. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the opening speech. May I ask the Minister of Finance to kindly remain on the stage for a photo session. And I would like to also invite the following executives to be on the stage, please. Governor Bank of Thailand, Dr. Sethaput Suthiwat Naraput. Chairman of the Board, the Stock Exchange of Thailand, Dr. Prasan Trairat Warakul. President of the Stock Exchange of Thailand, Dr. Phakon Pita Thwatchai. and Chairperson Association of Securities Company, Mr. Piche Sithi Amnoy. So ladies and gentlemen, for the past 2 years, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Thailand Focus has been organized in a virtual format. This year, we are delighted to announce that this is the first time in 2 years that we are able to hold the event in a hybrid session. This includes both private meetings on site and virtual meetings to facilitate and keep the investors updated with the investment situation in Thailand. The theme for Thailand Focus 2022 is the New Hope, which highlights issues in several aspects related to businesses and investment of Thailand post-global pandemic, as well as looking forward to the future, how Thailand will be, and how important business sectors in Thailand will be, because these sectors are considered as a very important engines for the Thai economy. Thank you very much to all the executives for the photo session. Ladies and gentlemen, next up we will listen to the updated information on normalizing policy to ensure a smooth takeoff by Dr. Sethaput Suthiwat Naraput, Governor of Bank of Thailand. Dr. Sethaput Suthiwat Naraput is the 24th Governor of the Bank of Thailand. He is also the board member of the National Economic and Social Development Council, the Securities and Exchange Commission, and the Insurance Commission. He has extensive experience in economic, policy, and financial markets. So ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Dr. Sethaput Suthiwat Naraput on the stage, please.
Your Excellency, Finance Minister Dr. Akom, Chairman Dr. Prasan, President Dr. Pakon, distinguished guests. First, let me thank the Stock Exchange of Thailand for having me here today. The theme of today's Thailand Focus is the New Hope. But before we can get to the new hope and the new promised land, we need to make sure that the economy recovers. And that's where I'd like to focus my talk today. So let me start off with our policy objective. Our policy objective has been and continues to be trying to ensure a smooth takeoff. And I think this is important to understand because the policy objective in countries like Thailand is different from the policy objective that we see in the industrial economies. There, the issue is less one of trying to ensure a smooth takeoff, but more one of trying to ensure a smooth or soft landing. But we are at a different part of the economic cycle. So the economic conditions are different, and therefore the policy response that is appropriate in Thailand, as it is in the other countries, is different. So we go back and think about our objective now, trying to make sure that that takeoff is smooth and it continues, and ask ourselves, well, what is needed for us to get there? And to understand that, think about what kinds of things would prevent that smooth takeoff from happening. First off, obviously, if we manage to not be able to keep inflation under control. So trying to keep inflation under control is a key objective for us to get for the obvious reasons. If inflation starts to spike up, household purchasing power gets undercut, the boost to domestic demand that we've been seeing wouldn't happen. If inflation expectations get unanchored and we move to a higher inflation regime, all the usual bad stuff that we know would happen. So I don't want to preach to the choir here, so I'll skip on that point. The second thing that we need to do to make sure that the recovery is intact and we get that smooth takeoff is to make sure that the financial system continues to function well, that it continues to support the recovery. And on this, I think we've been quite successful in the past during the COVID crisis in trying to ensure that the credit system is functioning as close to normal as could be expected. And we've seen, for example, credit growth in Thailand, even during COVID, in terms of the growth rates, compare quite favorably to those pre-COVID. except for certain pockets which were underserved, and such as SMEs, and that's why we needed to have targeted measures to support them. But obviously, trying to ensure that the financial system continues to support the recovery is important, and therefore, again, that will dictate, right, the pace of normalization that we would like to see. So given that we need to get inflation under control, keep the financial system continuing to function well, right, the task now is to try to normalize policy. Because during the COVID crisis, in Thailand, as within many other countries, the authorities went, in a sense, all in, right? Policy rates were kept very, very low, extremely low, super accommodative, and financial measures were put in place to try to mitigate the worst of the impacts. So large kind of blanket type, broad type measures were put in place. And obviously keeping those kinds of measures in place for too long creates a lot of unintended consequences, moral hazard, and all sorts of problems. So it's not appropriate to allow those to be in place for too long a time. And that therefore now, right, the shift needs to be towards exiting some of that stuff and trying to normalize policy. The question is, well, how do we normalize policy? How do we get there? What pace, right? And there are a couple of guidelines for our policy normalization which I'd like to share with you. First is we need to take a holistic and integrated approach between both monetary and financial policy normalization. So on, just to give you a quick example, on financial policies, during the COVID crisis, we reduced our deposit levy by 23 basis points, the FIDF fee. There was a recent decision by our Financial Institutions Policy Committee to stop that policy, and so that levy will be imposed again at the end of this year. That obviously will have an impact in terms of banks' cost of funds and will be passed through to the economy. So taking into account those kinds of effects when designing and thinking about monetary policy normalization will be important. So that's an example, again, of trying to take a coordinated, integrated approach towards normalizing both monetary policy and financial measures that we undertook during the crisis. Second point is the important one, and I'll focus a lot of my comments on this issue, which is that the pace, right, of normalization will be gradual and measured. Okay. On the financial front, what does that mean? That means that all those measures that we went kind of all in at the beginning of the crisis, right, those blanket type measures, well, we're withdrawing that stuff and moving and leaving in place more targeted kinds of measures. When the crisis struck, Thailand, as with many countries, again, undertook these broad blanket type measures, debt moratoria, right, restrictions on dividend policies and whatnot to try to alleviate the worst of the crisis. Well, again, given that the crisis turned out to be much longer than people expected, and the recovery would take longer, those kinds of broad blanket type measures don't make much sense, and a more targeted approach would make sense. So what we're doing is we're withdrawing a lot, have been in the process of withdrawing those kinds of blanket type supports, but leaving in place those targeted measures that are necessary. Why? Because the recovery in Thailand, as in other countries, has been quite uneven. So some sectors have been lagging, and there are vulnerable groups that are in place. So the kind of targeted measures that we'll be leaving in place include, for example, the soft loan or targeted SME credit scheme, which we'll leave in place until at least April of next year. We have an asset warehousing scheme to help support particularly firms in say, the hotel sector. That scheme will also be put in place at least until April of next year. And we have, very importantly, our September 3rd debt restructuring, long-term debt restructuring scheme, which provides regular incentives for banks to engage in debt restructuring. That we will put in place until at least the end of next year. And I use the term at least again because we will continue to be flexible and pragmatic. If conditions then warrant that we extend those measures and those schemes, we will do so. On the monetary front, what does gradual and measured means? Now, gradual and measured were terms that we put into the latest MPC statement for those of you who took the time to read it. And I'd like to spend a little bit of time just clarifying exactly what is meant by that and unpacking that term. First point to mention is gradual and measured are two different things. We weren't just looking for synonyms for the sake of synonyms, right? Gradual means one thing in our context and measured means another. What do we mean by gradual? First, gradual is that we do not see the need, right, to undertake aggressive heroically large rate hikes at each of our policy meetings. It doesn't fit with our economic circumstances. It doesn't fit with our conditions. Measured means that our policy decisions will be calibrated, okay, take into account economic conditions and circumstances prevailing at the time. So if in our gradual process of normalizing policy we find, okay, that for whatever reason it is appropriate to pause, given the economic conditions at the time, measured relative to the economic conditions at the time, we will do so. If we feel at that point that it's important to hike more than usual, instead of 25, go to 50, we will do so likewise. Okay? So that's what's intended or meant by that statement in the MPC about gradual and measured approach. And it will be, again, the guideline for our policy normalization on the monetary front. And we've started to take first steps towards this. At our Financial Institutions Policy Committee meeting, again, which was held on 30th June, we started to withdraw some of the blanket measures, the FIDF fee and the dividend policy restrictions, which obviously leaving in place for a long time doesn't make good sense. And at the MPC meeting, the latest MPC meeting on the 10th of August, the committee voted 6-1 to hike policy rates by 25 basis points. And again, why 25 basis points? A question I get asked a lot is, well, why not do more, right? I think the rationale for hiking, I think, should be clear, right? Given the need for policy normalization. But, why not more? And to answer that question, I think we need to take a look and discuss a bit more about the outlook for the Thai economy and the risks associated with the Thai economy. First, on the outlook, it's quite clear, as indicated by the MPC statement as well, that the balance of risks in Thailand has shifted and changed. As before, right, the concern, most of the focus was on growth, right? Now we see that we feel more confident about the economic recovery, and the balance of risk and concern has shifted more towards, obviously, inflation, as it has in many other countries. The first point to note is that we feel, with a good degree of confidence, that the economy recovery, slow as it has been, is intact and it's resilient. And we can see that in several ways. First off, if you look at the overall path of headline GDP, right? Last year we grew at 1.5%, very lackluster. This year we'll probably see something close to around 3. Next year something probably in excess of 4. So that is a recovery path. And if you look more closely this year, we see that first quarter numbers came out and second quarter numbers came out indicating that that recovery looks like it has been intact. Second quarter numbers, for reasons we can discuss, headlines might have appeared a bit more disappointing, but if you look underneath the headline numbers, what we do see, which has been quite encouraging, is that that recovery has been underpinned by strong domestic demand growth. Okay? Consumption has recovered really quite well. First quarter consumption came in at 3.5%. Second quarter consumption came in at close to 7%. Okay? Typically, pre-COVID, consumption was growing at about 3%. So it shows you that there's very strong consumption demand coming, private demand in the form of consumption coming back. And it's not just pent-up stuff. It's underpinned by real growth in incomes. If we look, for example, at growth in non-farm and farm incomes, it's registered double-digit growth for both the first and second quarters of this year. Right? So it's underpinned by real improvements in incomes, which reflects the fact that economic activity and whatnot is coming back. The number we track on the employment side is we look at the number of unemployed and underemployed, and those figures, again, have been trending lower and are well off the highs of under and underemployment that was reached during the worst of the COVID crisis. And very importantly, tourism. Okay, so in the past, we've seen that the recovery has been driven a lot by domestic demand and a gradual pickup in tourism, but going forward, we expect a big boost from the recovery in tourism. As you all know, tourism is absolutely essential, critical to our recovery in Thailand. Without a recovery in tourism, there will not be a recovery in the economy. Tourism is 12% of GDP, about 20% of employment, direct and indirect. So it's essential for the recovery in the economy. But on that front, again, there is positive news, and it gives us confidence that the recovery will be resilient. If we look pre-COVID, right, we had 40 million tourists a year. Last year, it went all the way down to 400,000. Okay. This year, year to date, we've seen about 3.2 million. And we've been upping our forecast, but we probably expect to see something north of 8 million tourists a year. Now, each million, this is important because each million tourists adds, in terms of gross spending, ballpark about 40 basis points of GDP. So the other thing that's important to note, again, I think is and it gets back to the point about how the recovery is resilient, is because we feel that the recovery in tourism will persist regardless, well, not regardless, but even though there are concerns about the recovery in the global economy. If we look, for example, in the past, bilateral tourist flows are relatively resilient to economic conditions, meaning that even if the source country of the tourists, the economy is not doing it, people still come here to travel. And it partly reflects, I think, the fact that there's a lot of pent-up demand. It reflects the fact that we are a cost-effective, value-for-money destination. But we feel, again, that recovery in tourism is likely to persist. It's likely to be very resilient, even though, again, the global economic outlook might be softening, as has been raised in several quarters. So, again, that gives us a fair bit of confidence that the recovery is both intact and resilient. The other point that was noted in the MPC statement quite clearly is that inflation will remain high this year, uncomfortably high, well above our target range. Our target range for headline inflation is 1% to 3%. It's been tracking at well over 7%, and this year, full year, we'll probably see something north of 6% in terms of inflation. But again, if we look at the path of inflation, okay, we expect inflation to peak in third quarter and then gradually come back into our target range sometime in the middle of next year. Okay. And that, again, reflects the fact that most of our inflation, which I'll go to in a bit more detail later, it's really been driven by supply-side factors, almost exclusively by supply-side factors, and concentrated largely in the food and energy space. There hasn't been, let me emphasize, there has not been any signs of demand-side inflationary pressure, unlike what we see in the US and in the UK and other kinds of industrial economies. So the inflation, yes, very high, but again, trending back, barring, again, additional or repeated supply shocks, should come back within our target range within next year. The thing that does give us concern, and I want to emphasize, we're not sanguine about inflation. Like any central banker, I am paid to worry about inflation. In fact, it's in our legal mandate, so I am legally required to worry about inflation. But again, on the path of headline inflation, we feel quite comfortable that that's coming down. The thing that does give us pause and concern and has motivated the MPC to undertake the normalization cycle is we see core inflation has been trending up. We see core inflation, month-on-month core inflation has increased for 4 consecutive months, which gives you a sign or indication that that inflation engine that we don't want to kind of get fully started is picking up. And if that we don't take actions, then there's a danger and a risk that we'll move from a low inflation regime to a high inflation regime. And the last point is on financial stability, which overall, as you know, is quite sound in Thailand. The buffers are very solid, bank capital ratios, liquidity, all that stuff looks very good. NPLs are not that high, but there are some vulnerable segments, again, given the uneven nature of the recovery. So some pockets, particularly in the SME sectors and the SMEs in the sectors that are lagging behind the recovery, and low-income households, which again is the reason why we need to leave some of these more targeted measures to address the vulnerable groups in place. So that's the overall outlook. And what about risks? Okay. What kinds of things should we be really worried about? There's a lot of noise out right there now about, this is a risk and that is a risk, and I don't doubt that all those things are valid concerns, but we need to be able to prioritize and address, which things are the things that we really, really should be concerned about, okay, and which things are probably less of a concern. First point, and I like to spend a little bit of time on this, is that we're not really worried that we're behind the curve, okay, and I want to emphasize this point, that we do not think, okay, that we are behind the curve in our normalization process, and there are a bunch of reasons for that. First off, is that our economic recovery, okay, looked at in terms of the level of GDP, is still not at pre-COVID levels. And this gets back to that point that I was trying to emphasize, that the economic context here is different from what it is in the industrial economies. we are at a different part of the economic cycle. Okay? And just to give you a clear picture of that, and I try to avoid doing too many slides, but this one is, I think, a useful one. And if you take a look at what this chart shows is where a country's GDP was relative to its level pre-COVID when they undertook their first rate hike. Okay? So that bar, okay, indicates the level of GDP relative to pre-COVID when each country in that list undertook their first rate hike. So if you look, right, all the countries that in this group, right, with the exception of Thailand, right, only started to hike when the economy reached or exceeded pre-COVID levels. Okay, we started hiking before, right, on August 10th, before we reached pre-COVID. So again, if you looked at that way, it does not look like we are behind the curve. And compared to these other countries, we don't look like we are behind the curve. And again, that reflects, again, our particular set of economic circumstances. But aside from the fact that our recovery is still not at pre-COVID levels, if you look also at the inflation picture in Thailand, it's also different from what we see in a lot of the industrial economies where they are undertaking more aggressive rate hikes. In Thailand, as I mentioned, we see no signs of demand-side inflationary pressure. It's, again, all supply side, mostly concentrated in the food and energy space. Inflation expectations still look like they're anchored. If you look at surveys and things that we can back out from market prices, particularly on long-term inflation expectations, look like they're still anchored, look like they're still within our target range of below our target range of 1% to 3%. And also the concerns that have been raised recently about the baht is depreciating, and therefore there's going to be this high impact on headline inflation. Again, that story, yes, it sounds good, but it's not borne out by the facts. Exchange rate pass-through in terms of headline inflation in Thailand have been extremely low. Each 1% depreciation in the exchange rate in the past has accounted for about 6 odd basis points in headline inflation. So it has not traditionally been a major source of inflation. It's very different from the context that we see in Latin America. So, and very importantly, there's low likelihood of a wage price spiral in Thailand. Okay? If we want to get that shift from a low inflation regime to a high inflation regime, that inflation engine's got to start. Okay? And barring like repeated supply shocks, right, which I think most of you would agree is not that likely, that we keep getting again and again and again these supply shocks. Barring that, the thing that would allow that inflation engine, the thing that's needed to get that inflation engine going, is a wage price spiral, right? Prices rise, the workers, get that in, they demand higher wages, and that feeds back in and gets that inflation spiral going. Barring a wage price spiral, it's not that easy to get a shift from a low inflation regime to a high inflation regime. And in Thailand, again, there are a bunch of reasons to believe why the chances of a wage price spiral are relatively low. Okay. First off, our labor market is has some slack in there. Again, given the high levels of relatively high levels of unemployment, underemployment, when again not back to anything near or resembling full employment, given the slower recovery in tourism that we mentioned. Secondly, if you look at the structure of our labor market, ballpark. Almost half, I think it's about 45%, but close to half of our workers are self-employed. So they're not wage workers. So the transmission, again, from higher wages to higher inflation is likely to be less, again, given the fact that a lot of people in Thailand don't even earn a wage. They're self-employed. They're farmers, taxi drivers, merchants, and vendors. Third, if you look at labor costs overall, they account for about a relatively small share, about 15% of total production costs. So that, again, the transmission from higher wages to production, higher and producer prices is perhaps not as strong as it would be in the more advanced economies. And lastly, if you look again, the level of The degree of unionization is low in Thailand. The degree of wage indexation is also extremely low. So it's a very different context than we would find in other countries, say like in Latin America or in the developed economies, which argue again for the fact that the chances of getting a wage price spiral in Thailand are low. So taken all together, again, I would argue like that we are not behind the curve, and that again, undertaking a gradual and measured approach towards normalization makes good sense for us, given our economic circumstances. Second risk that people talk about a lot is the Fed is tightening, right? And that poses great risks to our recovery. Again, yes, it is a risk. Yes, it is a concern, but is it the top of mind concern, the kind of thing that keeps me up most at night? The short answer is no. And why is that? There is this what I call a story floating around out there, right? A narrative out there, which is, the Fed has been hiking aggressively. Thailand has not. There's this widening interest rate differential. That interest rate differential has caused capital outflows from Thailand, and that has caused the baht to depreciate. Okay, it's a nice story. It sounds like it makes good sense, but it is a false narrative. It is not borne out by the facts in the case of Thailand. Why? First and foremost, the depreciation of the baht, like with many other Asian currencies, has been driven first and foremost by what happens with the dollar. It's been, this year to date, we've seen the dollar appreciate by about 13%. The baht has depreciated by about 8%, more than Malaysia, less than the Philippines. But the movements in the baht have been largely reflective of what's been happening with the dollar, more than what's been happening with capital inflows or outflows. Second point is, there have not been, right, there have not been large capital outflows out of Thailand. We have not seen any untoward capital outflows. Year to date, in fact, we have seen net inflows of about 4.8 billion in bond and equity markets. So that story about the interest rate differential, capital outflow, it's not borne out by the facts. And if you look again of the 8 months this year, there have only been 3 months where we've had capital outflows. So there's some periods, I don't doubt that there have been outflows, but again, on net, it's not a huge story about capital outflows going out of the country. And even if there were, again, contrary to fact, even if there were capital outflows, the impact on Thailand is not going to likely be that large for the usual reasons that you're probably familiar with. Our external vulnerability is very low. Our buffers are very strong. External debt is low, our reserves are high, right? And our ability to withstand those kinds of capital outflows, were they to occur, is quite substantial. So, and the kind of other kinds of risks that people talk about from Fed tightening, Fed tightens, bond yields go up, and yes, that causes financial conditions in Thailand to tighten. That story also is not that, in terms of top of mind risk, not that worrisome. Why? Yes, if we see that Fed starts to tighten, we see bond yields in the US go up, we see bond yields in Thailand go up. And the 10-year US yields and 10-year Thai yields tend to track, for example, very closely. But if you think about what happens to the real economy, how that gets transmitted to the real economy, what risk and what dangers does that pose? The short answer is not a whole lot. And why is that? First, it's because we are overwhelmingly a bank-based economy, okay? 75% of total financing is done through the banks. So the people that rely on the bond markets are, again, in the public sector, the government obviously, but the larger corporates. And their balance sheets are relatively strong, quite solid, so their vulnerability to these higher bond yields is quite limited. And if you look also at bank financing, our banks rely mostly, overwhelmingly, I believe the figure is ballpark, about close to 90% of their financing is from deposits It's not wholesale funding, so it's not like they rely on bond markets to raise their financing and that they would be affected by higher bond yields and would have to pass that through onto the real economy. So for those reasons, again, I think taken together, it shows you that again, it has to be a concern. Obviously, we look at it, take into account what the Fed and other advanced economies are doing. But in terms of risks to our recovery, in terms of the danger of it derailing that smooth takeoff, that one less of a top-of-mind concern. Third thing that we hear quite a bit about is low stagflation, the risks of stagflation, right? Global economy slowing down, inflation here is high. Is Thailand going to see stagflation? And again, I would argue that in Thailand, the risks of stagflation are relatively low. Why? To get stagflation, you need high inflation. Yes, we see that. But again, as I mentioned, the path of it is likely to come down, barring additional supply shocks. And very importantly, our GDP, our economic recovery, is likely to be resilient because a lot of it's going to be driven by the recovery in tourism, which, as we discussed, is not likely to be that sensitive to the slowdown in the global economy. And again, that's not any kind of magic of forecasting on our side. It's just driven mostly by math, meaning what? Meaning that we went from 40 million tourists to 400,000, right? Any way you look at it, regardless of the global economic outlook, that number is going to come up, right? And it's already come up to 3.2 million, okay? And again, our own forecast was probably see something north of 8, but it's coming off such an extremely low base, and as we've seen around the world, there's a lot of pent-up demand for travel, and so we think that helps provide greater confidence in our recovery driven by tourism and the resilience of the growth outlook. I am running out of time. The key risk, as you can probably note from what I've been saying, has related to tourism. Right, that tourism, that's the thing that worries me the most, that if something were to impact that tourism recovery, because like so much of our recovery is tied to tourism, so that really is the key risk. And again, nobody knows what's going to happen, but if there were to be some geopolitical tail risk, if there were to be some kind of new virulent strain that emerges and whatnot, then yeah, that would be a big concern, and the outlook, obviously, and the risk, the balance of risk would certainly shift. So, by way of recap and conclusion, again, aggressive rate hikes and rapid normalization might make sense in some countries, but the right policy response is country-specific and should reflect the nature of inflation in the country, the cyclical position of the country, where you are in the economic cycle, and it should reflect the structural features of the economy. And in the Thai context, you look at it, right, our inflation is mostly supply-side driven, no demand-side pressures that we can see of. Our cyclical, where we are in the cycle, is relatively early in the recovery. Right? As I mentioned, we started hiking even before we've reached pre-COVID levels. And the structural feature of the economies suggest again that the likelihood of a wage price spiral is relatively low. And for that reason, we feel that the proper policy response in terms of normalizing policy, both on the monetary side and on the financial policy side, is to take a gradual and measured approach. So, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sethaput, for your very insightful session. Ladies and gentlemen, next is a session on strengthen Thailand investment opportunities in strategic industries. We are honored to have Dr. Rachani Wattanasi Visitporn, Executive Director of Foreign Investment Marketing Division of Thailand Board of Investment, Mr. Thanapol Siri Thanachai, Country Chief Executive Officer of Frasers Property Thailand, and Mr. Viwat Hemontharop, Vice Chairman of Federation of Thai Industries, to join us on the panel today. Dr. Sorapon Tulayasathian, Senior Executive Vice President of the Stock Exchange of Thailand, will be moderating for this session. FDI and private investment are the key engine for the Thai economy, especially in strategic industries. This session will highlight the latest outlook from policymakers and top capital market executives regarding the latest initiative and progress in Thailand 4.0, and also target industry for uplifting the country's competitiveness. The discussion will also focus on public and private collaboration in EEC, Smart City Project, R&D and human capital development that will drive Thailand to new opportunities and attractiveness. It is my great pleasure to introduce the speaker for this session. Dr. Rachani had been working and obtaining experiences in investment promotion in various industrial sectors, including trade and investment supporting office, regional operating headquarters, international process outsourcing, research and development, biotechnology, human resources development, and other related sectors. Mr. Thanaporn from Fraser Property has over 30 years in real estate industry. He is responsible for overseeing FPT, which is the first fully integrated real estate platform in Thailand. And Mr. Viwat is currently Vice Chairman of the Federation of Thai Industry and Chairman of Corporate Communication Division, Federation of Thai Industries. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming all the speakers and our moderator on the stage, please.
Your Excellency Minister, Governor of Bank of Thailand, guests of honors, welcome to the first seminar session this morning. We have heard from the speech by Mr. Finance as well as the Bank Governor, and we are relieved that we do have new hope. The economy starts to recover, and there are government policy to support both infrastructure as well as certain key strategic investor industry that we want. We have also heard from the Bank Governor that the monetary policy going forward will be gradual and measured. Yet there are still certain risks that remain. There are many disruptions that can create both challenges and opportunities. And we will hear from the panel today on strengthen Thailand investment opportunity in strategic industries, to learn how the Thai industry take advantage and opportune from the environment that we are facing at the moment. So we are fortunate to have many participants from both the public and the private sectors. So may I first have the first question to our representative from the Board of Investment, Kun Rachani. Kun Rachani, how is the investment situation in Thailand, particularly in the response to the economic reopening? Any specific sector that we are targeting that are coming to Thailand at the moment?
Thank you very much for the questions. First of all, I just would like to begin by looking at some statistics under the BOIs, especially the investment that we received to the real sector. First, I just would like to show you some slides. So we have to consider what's going to be the total investment that we receive before and during and also after we reopening the economies. So you have seen, some slightly, the increasing trend of the investments before the COVID. Of course, we have received, the total investments that's gone, slightly increased, but it's dropped down in during the COVID time. And it's increased again in 2021 after we start to reopening the economy. And you will see that there will be some positive trend according to this total investment. But again, if you ask us what's going to be the most favorable allocations for this investment, of course, EEC is still, the target area that we try to attract the for of investment. 1/3 of the total investment has gone to this particular location. And for the top 5 investing target industry, supports EE is going to be in the leading position, following by the medical, petrochemicals, agriculture, food processing, and also the automotives and parts industry. The next ones, I would like to mention a bit about the foreign direct investment, because this is a key engine for economic growth. And you have seen also is similarly to the total application from that we received. So more than 70% of the investment that we received is come from overseas. And this has been a significant trend also after we, after the post-COVID, especially in 2021. And you might see it's also in 2022, what's going to be the trend of this investment that we receive. So most of the FDI sources come from Japan, which is the key, investing country, following by China, Singapore, USA, and also Taiwan. And again, the investing industry, EE, petrochemicals, chemicals, and also the agriculture, food processing, and automotive industry. But I would like to have a look on these statistics, particularly this year. Also, it doesn't complete, till the end of this year, but at the second quarter, we have seen some slightly change in terms of the key leading positions of the industry. You may have been recognized as the automotives and parts has been the number ones of the year, compared to the other industry. And we have seen some, significant also from the tourist industry and biochemical biotechnologies that are in this line of the S-curve, and also it's going to be the target industry of the government. And I have to say that behind this application, the government has worked very hard also in order to prioritize some key industry and try to, be more proactive to represent to the foreign investor, to attract them to come and invest in Thailand by offering competitive privileges, and also make Thailand more attractive compared to our competitor in the region. So the government is just realigning that we have to set up the target industry to promote, and also looking to match with the COVID-19 investment atmosphere. So we have to come and realize what should be prioritized, and what we should determine for which industry that should be the top priority one for support. Then I would like to mention a little bit about some key strategic industry in the future. And even this year, we already start to promote also, particularly the BCG. I think from the previous sessions that our Minister of Finance already mentioned a bit about that, and BCG has adopted as our national, agenda. So according to this, Thailand will generate the total value of, this industry up to 4.4 trillion baht, trillion baht, and it accounts around 120 billion US dollar over the next 6 years, and that accounts around 24% of our national GDP. And I would like to say that actually BCG, it doesn't start from scratch, as Thailand has a large food industry, and also we are going in the medical hub and expanding our biochemicals industry, and also a great potential for renewable energies. So at a point in time, the government come up with the idea that we have to strengthen this industry more by offerings, whatever kind of activities or sector that would help Thailand to strengthen our competitiveness. So we would like to invite the investor to come and join us for this particular industry as well. Under the BOIs, we do support, varieties of activities that rankings from agriculture and food industry, and also the biotechnologies, biochemicals, bioplastics, and also the high-tech medical industry, as well as the medical tourism, especially the long stays and also rehabilitation center. That would be the most favorable areas for the foreign investors to come and join us. And the government will provide a wide range of incentives covered from the tax and non-tax incentive, especially the exemptions of corporate income tax up to 13 years. So the next one, which I would like to highlight, and that's going to be the most, promising one for Thailand, the EV, as the government already set up a goal that we should, achieve and be able to produce net zero vehicle, in Thailand. And that we come up with the policy aggressively that we announced 30-30 vision, which means that we should produce, the EV in Thailand 30% domestically by 2030. And we're going to make Thailand to become, a global production hub also for EV in also strengthening this, the competitiveness of Thailand. And for this also, I have to say that through our study, Thailand is going to be the first country in ASEAN, to provide a comprehensive policies, especially the demand side stimulations, and as investment promotion, we will do support. The investor to come and join us in this industry by providing a comprehensive incentive package, particularly the 3 to 11 year of tax holidays to the entire EV supply chain, including the 2 to 4 wheeler, and also the BV platforms, EV parts and component, and also the EV related infrastructure like battery charging station. And additionally, the Ministries of Finance also we provide the additional incentive like the to encourage the demand of EVs, especially the cash subsidies, the lower excise tax, the lower import tax on the important parts and components, and also the significant auto parts. So I just would like to give you some sample that after we really launched this policy to attract the key strategic industry, there will be a lot of, requirements from the multinational company that they interest, to join us in this industry. For example, Foxconn already partnering with the PTT to set up, the joint venture enterprise to produce the finishing car to the manufacturers using the modular platform and also software developed by Foxconn. And another giant company like Toyota Motors from Japan, the Great Wall Motors, and also BYD show interest, joining the government incentive program in order to promote the EV sales and productions in Thailand. So that is just a part of our sample that I would like to show you, just to mention about what going to be the key strategic industry after we briefing the economy. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Kun Rachani. I think we have heard a good story that investment is now returning. There are more different set of type of industry that is applying for this year as compared to pre-COVID. And Kun Rachani has highlighted two strategic industry that we would like to focus. First is of course BCG. We have heard the number which is very striking that it will be 24% of GDP for the next 6 years. As well as the EV, electric vehicle industry, that I think BOI has a vision of 30 by 30, that is 30% production by 2030. And you also highlight the comprehensive measures, both supply and demand side that the government has provided to make this happen. So let me now turn to a view from the private sector. May I ask Kun Viwat from the Federation of Thai Industries that we still have many challenges ahead. We have COVID, the China situations, the Russia-Ukraine. What has affected the Thai industries, and how have you viewed the Thai companies adapt?
Thank you, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen here. I think that on behalf of the Federation of Thai Industry, we would like to share to you the information regarding to the investment and industry in Thailand. I think that you may getting used to with this page. I think we are now getting used to with the VUCA word, right? They happen every day, and gonna happen more and more, from now on. Actually, it is not just COVID that we have changed. We have faced it. We have faced since digital disruption, trade war, COVID, Russia and Ukraine, and then come into the recession of the world economy and climate change. And just happened few weeks ago that U.S. and China, Taiwan crisis, and then its impact to the number of very critical one, that the number of supply chain shortage, for the chip. This is gonna accelerate the shortage of the semiconductor chips, leading to the supply chain shortage. And since that the Thai economy is more than 10 to 20% that we have our export is depend on these sectors. It impact to the automotive sectors. And then the global, and for global economic outlook, I may not touch it much because the governor, Bank of Thailand governor has informed you much a lot. But what I would like to inform to you is that the GDP contribution in Thailand, this is the very, I think that we have to pay the attention, to this structure. We have almost 60%, 55 to 60% in the service sectors, about 30%, 32% in industrial sectors, and less than 10% in agricultural sectors. While we have, you may know that more than, it is not alignment with the number of the labor force, with the population structures, for Thai people. What the intention for the Federation of Thai Industry that try to work with the government, Thai government, that we want to leverage the 30%, 32% of industrial sectors and the 10% of agricultural sector to be to have the relative together to be 40%, which we try to do is agricultural industry. So this is the trend that we are going to discuss furthermore in the second phase, regarding to the BCG. And so when you look at the details of the GDP, in the green color, agricultural products contribute only less than 6%, of the export, to GDP of Thailand. While for the because of Thailand, we have about 60%, 57%, of the export contribution to the GDP, and industrial sector is about 45%. But for agriculture, it's less than 6%. This is I see that this is opportunities. It is a problem nowadays, but it is opportunities for investment in the future. Yeah, according to our resources. This is much more in details. Let me pass on. Okay. And this is the contribution, for the export contribution. Last year, and the red color is last year. Last year, the second rows, the motor cars, the parts, and accessories played a crucial role, to be the major contributors, to the Thai economies. But this year, you see the color, the yellow color, the gems, the jewelries, the precious stones become the bigger part. Because of the material, we have a lot of advantage, in terms of material and people and skills, and also a lot of demand come from the overseas. This is very, interesting. However, when you see these trends, you will not see any only from the 1 to 2, or the 7 row, the fresh and frozen and dried fruits only. And then you will not see any related to the agricultural sectors, that will bring our country. On the other hand, we have a lot of valuable resources, we are in the good place, for the diversity, for the diversity of a lot of herbs, a lot of food product ingredients. Then I think that this is very challenging and very interesting, for the investment and investor, to come into these sectors. Okay, this is much more in detail. So the last one that I want to mention is that the unemployment. If you see from this table, in the 2019, our unemployment rate is normally about 1, but in this table 2022 is about 1.4 for nowadays. And if you on your left hand side, you see the table that when you classify by sectors, for industrial sector is about nearly 12 million people, agricultural sector is about 9 million people, and service sector is about 19 million people. And then if we blend it, our target is to blend the first 2 rows, 20 million people to work together and to generate the GDP for Thailand. and then the unemployment rate will be changed. Because nowadays, if you may see like a 1.4% is not high, but if the tendency of the world economy, if we are still in a very old economy now, very old industry now, the tendency of unemployment rate going to be higher and higher. Then this is the time for Thailand to restructure the business through the BCG concept. Yeah. Okay, I will leave this slide. I will talk about this slide and then waiting for the second phase. In Thailand, we have the 45 industry, in the Federation of Thai Industry in Thailand. Altogether, we have 45 industry, 11 clusters, and we have 76 provincial Federation of Thai Industry. And then for the next generation of the industry, we are looking for the new S-curve, for the BCG, bio-circular, green economy, and then the climate change economy. So I will come next with the next phase for the information. Thank you.
Thank you ครับคุณวิวัฒน์ You have highlighted several challenges that is due to the global situation, namely the supply chain, as well as the limitation in the labor force. However, there are some room for opportunities, and you have highlighted, given Thailand's strength in biodiversity, that the agriculture, which is now a small proportion of GDP, can be higher, as well as the opportunity in the new S-curve industries. So let me now turn to Kun Thanapol ครับ because real estate sector is both the supporting factors for all industries, as well as the opportunities for the new growth of Thailand. So please, Kun Thanapol, could you give a picture of the current situation of the property sector in Thailand, and going on into the future, what are the future opportunities and challenges?
Thank you. Yep, thank you, Dr. Sorapon. But before I answer your question, let me briefly introduce you to Fraser Property Thailand. We are part of the Fraser Property Group, the global player real estate, and listed in the Stock Exchange of Singapore. Under Fraser Property, we manage, about $31.5 billion over 20 countries and 70 cities. Being part of the Fraser Group, Fraser Property Thailand, I think we gain some expertise and knowledge and network around the world. And then under Fraser Property Thailand, we have 3 asset classes under one platform, which is residential, commercial, and industrial. For industrial in particular, I think we are the largest market share in terms of the warehouse and logistic space for rent. We have about 3.26 million square meters, both in factory and warehouse business. And recently, we just expand the operation to Vietnam and Indonesia. We not only have, the ready build for factory and warehouse for rent, we are also moving to the build-to-suit, which is basically building to specific needs of the manufacturer or the operators. And now we are developing the industrial township. Now let me back to your question, what is, the situation, the opportunity market. Let's look at the Thailand property clock, which I think represents the big picture of the market. If we look at the housing, residential, with I think the household debt that is rising and also the interest rate and inflation affects or the middle income, which is barely the townhouse, the market is quite stagnant and slow down. But for the single detached house or the high income, for the high sector, is still doing well. For commercial, both retail and grade A office, I think they will face, oversupply situation in the next 2 or 3 years. With the opening of Thailand, the tourist is coming, so the hospitality is gradually picking up. I think for the warehouse and modern logistic property and factory, actually, we still have the strong demand. And factory also, we can see is now, that the manufacturer actually buying the land in industrial estate and then start to redevelop the operation. I think for the past 2 or 3 years, the world economy facing lots of challenge, tech and trade war, the U.S.-China has deteriorated relationship. The COVID situation disrupt the supply chain. And recently, the geopolitics actually drive the material costs, energy costs, and actually driving the inflation. However, I think we see the trend of the future logistics and industries improving. We actually see the modern digital economy is start. And then with the COVID situation, the e-commerce is taking the world. It's disrupt all the supply chain. So now to capture this opportunity, I see the demand is coming. So we're not really building the traditional, the warehouse or facility. I think we're moving to more technology, smart function, automation, and then buildings more green buildings. The ESG is very important. All our customer coming in, what the first question they ask, whether what we have in the green certificate or facility or not. But if you look from our experience for a couple of years, if you look at the industry that actually coming to our portfolio, electronic and appliance, is moving very fast. I think because of the e-commerce. Not only that, I think the retail and logistics is expanding. The e-commerce, the logistics and e-commerce, is actually taking over. Automotive, for the EV is start coming. I think it would take for a few years until actually the manufacturing coming. For the nationality, I think because of COVID, with the zero COVID policy in China, now people just moving out, and then they realize that they have to diversify the risk by identify, the location that is more support to the supply chain. So the Chinese, manufacturer company actually now expand aggressively. And also Thai, they also expand in logistics, and put more the facility of the warehouse, following by the Singapore and US. So again, just give you for example, when we're building now, not only just the warehouse, the facility, we actually build it more specifically. We're building the cold chain facility. We actually put in the robotics, and also fulfilling e-commerce facility. We also building another facility for their employee also. We're building the canteen, we're building the even the sport facility, co-working space. So I think to moving forwards to capture all this high demand, I think we need to work more and then to support this, our facility. Thank you.
Thank you, Khun Thanapol. I think we are seeing very interesting trend in property also. You mentioned about logistics is now adapting to new trend, be it e-commerce, be it green, be it the moving logistics from China, which is one other factor that we are seeing. So from the first round, we have heard from all the three speakers about the current situation and the industry that we want to go to, as is and to be. In the second round, I would like to start asking our representative from BOI, going from here to there, how we will do it. So please, if you can give us the picture of the investment promotion policies that can bring us from as is to be.
I think this is very important questions right now, because after the countries has reopened, so the governments have worked very hard throughout the years, come up with what can be the policies. We set up some guideline, according to this, that some of these measures has been using already for a couple of years. But also we just come up with the new designs of the policies in order to put more efforts for the country in terms of making Thailand more attractive for the foreigner. So this is some sorts of the policy directions that we use, currently, and some also is going to be, present, in the upcoming, month. And I will just, grab some of these policy measures according to 4 different areas. So the first is the measure to stimulate the investments. Of course, previously I already mentioned about BCG, right? So this is going to be our strategic one that we're going to continue to accelerate and invite more investment choice. And also the next one, we got some kind of plan that going to use Thailand as the international business center, using Thailand as the regional hub for some sort of things, whatever kind of industry that the multinational company can, use the benefits of this country as a strategic location. And also another one which is very important, as the speaker already mentions a bit about how to improve the efficiencies of the company by, digitizing and also the automate in terms of production process. And BOI still insists on it. The second area which we would like to highlight is to provide some support on the sustainability and also the innovations, which is very important. So we, have some kind of measure to encourage the startup, which I will, mention the next slide also. And also, we shouldn't forget about the sustainability and decarbonization. So that's why we have put these sorts of political aspect also in the EV and also some kind of BCG's industry. So next one, how to strengthen the investment ecosystem. This is very a key message that we have to deliver to the investor if they come to Thailand. So what sorts of things that the government can provide for them? So we come up with the new policy measure, so-called long-term residence visa. This is a kind of a quick win strategy. We know that we got some shortage of the skills manpower, but it's a kind of how can we develop them in the short periods of time? Of course not. So we just cut off by inviting the talent workforce through this channel. And also to develop the Thai human resources, that is another strategy parallel with attracting the talent, manpower coming directly to Thailand. But we have to develop them in terms of how to, in terms of skills or re-skills, whatever kind of program that we're going to provide for them. And another one, which is very important, if we get some complaint from the foreign investor, so how we help them in terms of, take some kind of shortcut and helping them when they're facing the inappropriate law and regulation. The last area is to provide a full facilitation to the investor, strengthen up our image of the country, making Thailand to be the investment environment, to the investor. So we already start to improve ourselves as the investment promotion agencies. We already provide some e-services, in terms of short, cut-off times and costs for the investor during the COVID time, and we continue to do that. In terms of organizing submission to overseas, so we organize, in our office and also meeting with the key investor online. And if the time is variable, so we just, provide admission and go abroad. So the next one, which I would like to get into details, and I think this is the right time that I have to speak on this, the long-term residence visa. I think you have heard about the smart visa that the government already provides for, I think, since we start the Thailand 4.0 to, provide full facilitations to the foreigner that they would like to come and, work in Thailand. But that's going to be like just only 4 year maximum. This one we provide up to 10 years. So that's why we call it long-term residence visa. And this is going to be launched on the 1st of September this year. This is quite new because we plan to, attract for group of the investor. The first one is wealthy global citizens, the wealthy pensioner, the work from Thailand, professionals like a digital nomad, the one that they would like to work and also at the same time join life, in some particular tourist destination. And also the high skills professional. And these also include their dependents, like family, spouse, the children, those sorts of things. The BOI provide, the benefits attached to long-term resident visas, for example, give the permission for them to work in Thailand. And also the yearly report instead of 90 working day that they normally submit, exemptions from the 4:1 foreign ratio of employment, and provide some special personal income tax, of the 17% limit for the high skills professionals. And the government believes that through this long-term resident visa, it's going to make Thailand more attractive to become a regional, hub for living and doing the business, especially for the highest potential foreigner. The next one, we shouldn't forget, about the human resources development. So that's why the government has come up with how we can develop, the capabilities of our manpower. So we setting up a platform for a high skills workforce development. So BOI is collaborated with the Ministries of Higher Education, the research and also innovation to set up this platform in order to strengthen up the manpower in 3 different groups, upskill, reskill, co-creations, and also the industrial training center, in order to produce the engineer and also scientists up to 10,000 persons a year. And according to this, also the BOI will support by providing a training grant for them. So it is very important also that before, it's a kind of change. The role of the investment promotion policy before we provide just only the physical incentive. But now we some kind of change to provide financial support to the company. So according to this, is for anyone who would like to apply to this program, any companies, so they have to be approved, by the Ministries of Higher Education, the research and innovations, to get, the maximums of the training grant, 100,000 baht, per person. So one company can get a maximum 5 million baht. And this training course must be complete within 2 years. So that is a kind of financial support from the government. Last but not least, I would like to highlight for this supporting measure, especially to the startup. So we know that we have to, secure our competitiveness. Startup also is very important, as I already mentioned earlier. So the government will provide support through, a 10 billion baht fund under the competitiveness enhancements of the BOI. So for any successful candidates, we receive a maximum 5 million baht in the financial assistance through the personal wages. So this is very important because we would like to, strengthen up the company in this startup area, subject to the target industry, especially BCG and also the S-curve under the Thailand's policies. So I think that's all for the investment promotions measures right now that I would like to present. But actually, there are going to be some more. But we're going to have also set up a new investment promotion strategic plan in next year for the next 7 years. That we're going to give some directions in order to make Thailand more attractive. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Khun Rachani. We have seen the picture that how to get there is not only the BOI support for both demand and supply side, but we have support to attract talent to Thailand. Either the long-term residence program that allow a long-term working permit, reduce personal income tax to only 17%, much lower than the normal rates. As well as incentive to train the personnel within the organization, as well as the incentive to attract startup. So I think we are moving not only the hard support, but also the soft side support on personnel. So this is very interesting. So let me now turn to the Federation of Thai Industries. We have heard how the government will support. Can you tell us more on how the private sector aim to support new kind of industries going forward?
Thank you. According to my previous presentation that I have shown to you that the perspective of Thai industry and then the opportunities, for the future investment. Actually, we are the best. We can say that Thailand, Thailand is the best for manufacturing. We are second to none, from anywhere in the world. It has been shown for many years. We have a lot of success in terms of quality, productivity, and a lot of human capitals, for the manufacturing. But by the way, we are looking for some value added of some new S-curve, that will transform our country in the proper structures. And you already heard from BOI that Thailand is really, have a lot of attractiveness, for the investor to come in. And then what industry, what should be the sectors that you're going to invest? I have mentioned about that page before. So we are now having a 12 target. We have a new S-curve and the first S-curve and a new S-curve. You may know, heard about this one, from the government policy that we have for the first one, for the value-added one, that is the next generation for automotive. We have talked about the EV, about the 30-30 policy, 30% of the EV cars in the 2030, very soon now, and then the scheme have been implemented very aggressively, from the government as well as the private sectors. We are very eager, to be the centers of EV cars, in this region. And second one, that intelligent electronics. We are, because of the shortage supply of the semiconductor industry that's gonna come in soon. We see that these are the opportunities. Now the Federation of Thai Industry working together with the Thai government and some investor from overseas that try to setting up, that Thailand to be the hub, for semiconductors in the future. It might take years, but when it happens, it's gonna earn more and more, And for the third one, that high value added from the medical tourism that you may heard about this topic in this afternoon. We no doubt that a lot of, I would say that a lot of best hospitals in Thailand, are suitable, for the multinational, for the foreign patients as well, not just for Thailand. So this is the place, for the medical tourism. The fourth one is advanced agricultural and biotechnology. We are now focused more and more on the smart farming, but that is just normal one. And I think that everywhere in the world, you have this technology. But the differentiation is that Thailand, we are a good place for biodiversity. When we have the biodiversity, if you can choose the proper herbs, the proper species, the proper plants, and you have the enough big data, because some you may have the big data for corn, we have the big data for the bean, but you may not have the big data for biogafala, that is the medicine. So, but in Thailand, we are the country of the biodiversity. You can leverage our strength on this one. Food and for the future, there's no doubt, that we are talking about the novel food nowadays. When you talk about the novel food, it is just not the normal food. It's coming novel food, like protein from insect, right? Plant-based protein and high intensive vitamin, comprehensive vitamin. This kind of thing that it use blended leverage technology between the farming and some chemical and some the biorefinery, then you can come with the proper one. I will show you later on about this information for the smart agriculture industry. The sixth one is for the value shift. After value added, then we have to have the value shift. This is for the Thai industry. The sixth one is automation and robotics. No doubt that the human resources and the workers going to be limited. And not just the number, not just the quantity, but also the quality for the speedy. So I think that the robotics become more and more play the crucial role for the manufacturing. Aviation and logistics, Thailand going to become the, before COVID, and after COVID, then post-COVID, we're going to become the aviation and logistics centers, for this region. The biofuel and the biochemical, we are now talking more and more about the biochemical, clean chemical. We try to use more and more clean concept to the chemical. And that in the Federation of Thai Industry, we have the industry that can support this one. For digital and medical, and then the defense industry, education. I want to focus on this is the Dr. Rachini has mentioned to you about the EV, EV development. This is a roadmap in Thailand. We are very aggressive one, that we're going to be from 26 to 2030s, with 30 policy, we can have a 30% of our vehicle, become EV cars. Yeah. This is the pictures of the bioeconomy when you are talking about where and what that in your life, from left to right, from bioplastic, we are moving from petrochemical industry to be bioplastic. We have biofuel, we have medicine, biomedicine, we have the cosmetic, a lot of flowers, a lot of fragrance in Thailand that can become the strength, for cosmetic industry in Thailand. A lot of additive can be support for the medicine industry in Thailand. Novel food, the fabrics, biochemical, biofertilizer. When you are talking about the smart farming, we are talking about bio, you really need biofertilizers. And biofertilizers, nowadays, they are not much efficient in terms of effectiveness of the result that they give to the productivity and also the costing. But if we can have the advanced technology to develop, and we have enough scales, then it can become more and more advantage in the future. And this is what I would like to mention to you that about the smart agriculture industry. Sorry that there's some ties here. This is the whole picture, integrated picture of the smart agriculture industry. It becomes from smart agricultural plus smart industry, and then it becomes smart agriculture industry. It is the demand based. When you do a lot of smart agriculture, you give more supply to the world. Sometimes you cannot, most of the time you cannot command the pricing. But if you add on some demand from the industry, and it is a demand driven, then you produce, you plant what the market needs, then it's going to become the more value. And with the smart industry, it's going to add value to you. For example, this one is integrated fortified industry of the Federation Thai industry. From right to left, from above that you can see the cold storage and warehousing. We had a lot of group of industry like air condition, and a gas industry that can help support, to make it more efficient. On the right hand side, on the second one, you have logistics and packaging. We have the plastic packaging, we have the packaging cluster, and we have the design cluster, and also we have the logistic cluster that can support, to get efficiency for these types of this area. Renewable energy, no doubt that Thailand have a lot of advancement in terms of technology for renewable energy. Smart greenhouse, this is very crucial one, that how to make it more efficient and the lowest investment, for the farmers, for the agricultural sectors. We had a lot of the sectors involved, like construction cluster. We have the chemical structure, and we also have the I would say like the herbs and the medicals in this one that can give us some data, the demand, and the smart architect and the crops, agricultural machinery, product processing. We can have regarding to the demand, like novel food demand, biochemical demand, biofuel demand, biomedical demand, biofabric demands. Then it comes to the product processing with the R&D, proper R&D and manufacturing base that we are here in Thailand. Then we can add value on that. And the last one is about the environmental issues like water resource management, that how can we have the proper one, on this area. This is how we call like a smart agricultural industry, and I think that this is going to be the change agent, for Thai economy in the future. Okay, the rest is quite more in details. If any further question, I can come back again. Yep. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Khun Vivat. I think beside our representative from BI has highlighted manufacturing sector, the EV, FTI, Federation of Thai Industry also highlight smart agriculture, which is very interesting because it's based on the core strength of Thailand biodiversity, as well as there's an opportunity to grow forward because currently agriculture is only a small proportion of the Thai GDP, but involved with many of the labor force. Kun Thanaphol, we have heard from BOI and Federation of Thai Industries many keywords on innovation, on smart city, on logistics. Can you please tell us about what are the opportunities forward after you hearing stories about smart city, economic reopening, and how Fraser has dealt with these opportunities?
Yeah. Thank you. And of course, I think from now, in the future, we cannot build the stand-alone facility. I think we have to build the communities, or maybe the smart communities. Let me explain what I mean by that. I think if I give the example of this, supply chains, economies. I think with the disruption, of course, with the situation, with the COVID and the digital economy, if we look at the traditional of the supply chain, the factory, produce goods, the goods go to the warehouse for storage, and then move from warehouse to the retail shop, and wait for the customer final purchase. But now the customer, put the order online, and then the online demand actually go directly to the warehouse. So now the warehouse is not just become only the storage anymore. I think it's now become the operation, it's become the sortation center, it's become the fulfillment facility. And then that's why I say we need to put more smart technology, we have to put automation, robotics, or even look in terms of the welfare benefit of the people who working there also. So this is just give you example now. The warehouse has become more the center of gravity. It's become the center of the operation, which we need to build the support facility and infrastructure to support it. And I think we need in terms of industrial, and logistics. That's why we're actually moving from traditional warehouse and factory, which is ready built. But of course, there's some demand on that, because some urgent or short-term requirement. But I think we're moving to the build-to-suit facility, tailor-made, facility, the cold chain storage, the fulfillment center. And also, we need to strategically located near the consumer. In the past, we probably, located near the warehouse, the factory. Now we're moving closer to the city for the last mile delivery. And also, sustainability, is more important. We're going to build the community, the township that actually support even the new economies and also the environment. In other words, I would say we need to build the integrated real estate, which is also not only one asset class, it has to be integrated. Let me give also another example that we try to develop. We have a plot of land, the big one actually is for about 4,000 rai on Bang Natrat, but unfortunately it's not in the ECC. But it's strategic location between the Suvarnabhumi Airport and the Lam Chabang Deep Sea Port. And what we plan to do actually is a long-term, development also. But I think we have to carefully put the jigsaw together. The warehouse, the logistic, manufacturing, of course, the business park to support the new economy, the startup. We also, have to plan for the residents to attract new talents. We also plan the retail business, which have to be integrated. And I'm glad, the BOI, also the government actually come up with a lot of incentive. And this will definitely help in terms of, foster and then make the factory or the company actually growing as the times go by. So we have to really careful on the infrastructure. We have to plan for the environment, the landscape, the green. All the building now we have the LEED certificate. We have to we have to use like a renewable energies. And we also study into how we can actually getting more the international company actually coming in. But this is just the example of the industrial or logistic. But I think the same is true for others, real estate development. For example, if you look in the city, the urban development now is become more mixed-use development. You're not going to see the standalone office, but now you're going to have office mixed with residential, mixed with the retail and the hotel. And all have to support each other. It has to be city in a city. If you look into the medical or healthcare, I think we have seen the trend. You're not going to see the people building hospital alone. Now the announcement they're going to be mixed use with the hotel, service apartment. So it's going to become the welfare, the wellness center. It's not become only the hospital anymore. So I think in order to going forwards and capture and for the opportunity for the investor to come, I think the Bank of Thailand governor have said we have to prepare all this financial infrastructure to support the business. I think in terms of real estate or the infrastructure, we need to prepare the support facility to support the investor that coming also. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think from this morning we have heard the Minister of Finance say that the economy has recovered. We have heard from the central bank governor say that going forward, despite the remaining risk, the monetary policy will be country-specific, will be gradual, and will be measured in accordance to what matters to Thailand. I think we do have hope. And we have hope not only because we can dream, but we can have hope because we can do. We have heard from this session that there are many better investment climate in Thailand at the moment. Our colleague from BOI, Dr. Ratchani, has said that there are more and more investment applications than ever. And very interestingly, there are newer industries that are coming. We have pointed out that where we want to go, and we have here quite specific that there are two industries that Thailand want to promote, which is BCG as well as EV. And the number I repeat is very striking. BCG is 24% of GDP in the next 6 years. And EV is 30 at 30, so 30% production by 2030. And this message is repeated not only in the public sector, but also by Kun Vivat on the Federation of Thai Industry. So we both go in sync. So not only we can dream, but we can do. We also heard how the companies have adapted, not only the company in the federations, but also the real estate sector that have adapted to new trends. Smart real estate, smart city, logistics that are not only moving toward closer to consumers, but being more green and supporting industries such as new commerce. So this afternoon, just to give you a preview, you will hear more specific on 3 sessions that are highlighting the emerging, as my president say, the new old and the new new. There are some new in the traditional industries, like food tech. Kun Vivat mentioned about plant-based meat. The new kind of tourism, which is supported by the government policy on the long-term residents, digital nomad, as well as the trend that are up and coming, which is on sustainability. But before that, we will hear from the Thai Bangkok governor after the session on the reopening of Bangkok. So on this note, I would like to thank our panelists, Dr. Rachada Watana Visit Porn from the Thai Board of Investment. Please give her a hand. Mr. Vivat Hem Mantarop from the Federation of Thai Industries. And with Mr. Thanapon Siri Thanachai from the Fraser, Thailand. So this concludes the first session of this morning, and as my president say, may the Thailand Focus be with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, all the panelists, for a very interesting and informative session. Ladies and gentlemen, the next session we receive an honor from our new Bangkok Governor, Dr. Chacha Sittipan, who will deliver his speech on reopening Thailand. So Dr. Chachat is the current elected governor of Bangkok Metropolitan with an extensive background gained through previous position held as a faculty member at Chulalongkorn University, Minister of Transportation of Thailand, and CEO of Q House. Dr. Chachat is expertise in many sectors, including engineering, executive management, policies, and politics. In this session, Dr. Chachat will discuss about the positioning of Bangkok in world tourism, beautiful architecture, historical sites, shopping centers, accommodation, and other strengths, as well as international recognition of Bangkok tourism. He will also be discussed about the key policies and focus areas for transforming Bangkok, initiative and event for promoting Bangkok tourism and economy. Dr. Chachat will also give an overview and insightful session on how to rebrand Bangkok to respond to the needs of modern tourists. Ladies and gentlemen, may I now invite Dr. Chachat Sittipan on the stage, please.
เอาเลยนะครับ โอเค Good morning, everyone. I'm a little bit excited and nervous because when you talk about Bangkok governor, you talk about garbage cleaning, garbage collection and traffic jam, you don't talk about economy with the Bangkok governor. And look at the three speakers this morning, maybe I'm the least qualified. But okay, I try my best for this. Right? I was the CEO of the listed company before, Q House, but never invited to this forum. But when I became a governor, which not related much to economy, but in fact, after my talk, you might change your mind. I think the governor has big role in bringing new hope to the city and to Thailand. I think the theme of today's speech will be reopening Bangkok. And as a Bangkok governor, I have to ask myself, are we ready? Are we ready to open in the Bangkok for tourists? Right now you see the increasing in number of tourists, but are we ready for the post-COVID in the healthcare system? And we look through all the numbers, and I think this is the COVID case in Bangkok, right? You see the declining number daily. This one is using the ATK test. So right now, the number will be around 2,000 cases per day, right? And you see the spike, but the trend of the peak is declining. So I think we are quite okay with the number. And when you look at other numbers related to the COVID-19 in Bangkok, right? It is a bed occupancy, right? I mean, this one is overall bed in Bangkok. I think the occupancy rate is only 35.2% for the COVID bed, right? So we have ample capacity to handle if we have some surge in the case of COVID in the future. And you see the level, this one is more like the green and to the red. So, and look at only for Bangkok bed, right? I mean, for the Bangkok hospital. Overall, we have occupancy about 33%. Like level 3, the severe case, we have like 41%, right? Level 2.1 with a cannula with some oxygen feeder, 82%, but we can expand it. And the green, we have only 25%. So I think bed capacity more than enough to handle even the future surge from the incoming of the tourists. And I think the drug, I mean the medicine that we need, like Favi or Monopiravir, Paxlovid, I think we have more than enough, right? I mean the consumption rate is about 1,500 patients per day. We have more than like 1.5 weeks supplies. And now we can order by ourselves beginning next month. So I think the supply of the medicine will be more than enough. I think vaccination is quite interesting. The number of vaccinated people are very high in Bangkok, right? I mean, 2 doses, we got more than 100% of the 2-dose coverage, like 110%, because we have unregistered population too. And you look at the 3rd dose, we have like 70%. And you look at the aging population, 60 and above, which is the risky group of population, we have more than 50% of vaccination for the third dose. So I think vaccination is very, very well covered in Bangkok. So I think we are quite, and you see the number of the red bed, which is like severe case going down. Only maybe the elderly and with some disease, chronic disease, is the one who occupy the red beds. So with all, and we learned a lot from the last 3 years, and we improved our healthcare system to handle the next pandemic. Right? I mean, we learned about the primary care, how to cooperate among different units for the healthcare system. So after all this number, I think we are ready. From now on, I think Bangkok ready to open for the tourists and for all the business. And I think we quite confident on this. And I think we have improved many aspects and lots of collaboration. So this, my session will be maybe give you idea of the 6 topic, right? I mean, Bangkok 101 just give you some idea if you're not familiar with Bangkok and how we operate as a BMA. I think our office, we call ourselves BMA, Bangkok Metropolitan Authority, and then why you need to invest in Bangkok, and what can we do better, what should be the improvement, and what is our strategy as a BMA to improve our efficiencies in providing service to all the people and all investors who come here, and what are the key projects that have we done, and there's some issues that you might have some questions that might impact some investment or some companies. I think there are some concerning issues that maybe I briefly describe. So there are 6 topics that I will describe today. Bangkok 101, maybe just give you some idea, right? We have registered population about 5.5 million, but including unregistered, maybe 8.5 or 10 million. So it's the biggest city. We are primate city. The second largest city would be maybe Nakhon Ratchasima, maybe only 2 million. Some say that Bangkok is the largest primate city in the world. It's good and bad, right? For the good, everything is here. So you don't miss anything if you come to Bangkok. So our infrastructure, all the investment is here in Bangkok. The budget of BMA is quite limited, right? So we are different from like New York or Tokyo. Bangkok BMA has maybe only 79 billion baht budget, comparing to 3.2 trillion of the government budget, right? So our budget is only like 2.6% of the government budget, but we take care of like 12% of the population. So as I said, don't expect BMA to do a lot on economy, but we have other aspects to improve. No? But because like in Bangkok, even the police is separate to other units, controlled by the police sector. Even healthcare, Bangkok, BMA has only 12% of the beds, hospital beds in Bangkok. Other is controlled by the health ministry, controlled by the universities, right? So the limited budget of Bangkok also have some constraint on our operation. We have about like 1,600 square kilometers divided into 50 districts and 180 sub-districts. We have only a small seashore about 5 kilometers in Bang Khun Tien area, you see on the lower side. But Bangkok is, as I said, it's a center of economic activities, right? I mean, the GDP of Bangkok is like 32% of the GDP. And if including the greater Bangkok, right, other 5 provinces, we account for nearly 50% of the GDP of the country. So if you want to improve or if you want to look at the economy, look at Bangkok and its surrounding areas. It will be a good indicator for the future. Actually, now you can see the trend in the future. I would expect the GDP of Bangkok to increase because of a lot of the people moving to the city more, and then you have creative economy. So I think a lot of activity will happen in Bangkok more than in the province in the coming future. Right? I mean, you see the top 7 industries that are accountable for 80% of Bangkok economy, like wholesale, public accommodation, information and communication, financial, manufacturing, and transportation. Now, why you want to come to Bangkok for investment? As a governor, I would like you all to come to invest here. But what is the strength of Bangkok? As I said, we are the major economic activity in Thailand, right? We account for 32% of GDP. And we have the greatest demand in all provinces like I think up to maybe 10 million, including unregistered population. And I think this is quite interesting figure. The vertical axis is the quality of living index, and the horizontal one is cost of living, right? Bangkok, we have quite, not high, we have a competitive cost of living index, right? 106 comparing to 181 overall. So we comparing to other countries, we still in the, I think in the middle. So I think it's also the competitive advantage that you look at the cost of living Bangkok. It's quite attractive comparing to other major cities like Singapore. Sorry, Excellency. I think Excellency, Ambassador Kevin, hello. Okay, I might have to mention Singapore sometimes. So, like Singapore, good quality of life, but still high cost of living, right? So I think there are some good and bad that put some strength to Bangkok too, right? I think you see infrastructure improving. Like we see a lot of mass transit completing soon. We might have like 450 kilometers of mass transit in the next 3 or 4 years. So if you have chance to live around the CBD, I think your life will be much easier to commute. And you see, Bangkok has a long history, right? We become the capital for like 240 years, and with a rich history, you see a lot of culture thing in the city too, right? We start from Canal Road and a lot of trading activities, and you see many attractions in Bangkok, deep history. So you can enjoy both life, work, and leisure in the same time in the vicinity of Bangkok. So this may be the charming of Bangkok that attract so many people here. I think another interesting thing that after I went to many districts in Bangkok, we are truly multicultural society, right? I mean, you can see that we have so many religions staying together. We have church, we have mosque, we have temple, we have like Chinese spirit house, all together in one area, and we live together in harmony. And you can see this so many areas, and that's why we have a so multi-cultural history and lots of attraction in Bangkok, right? And I think if you see in the near coming years, 2 years, I think you will see more office space in Bangkok, right? A lot of being built. Now we might have nearly 10 million square meters. Right now maybe we have about 8.2, 8.3 million square meters of office space. But in the coming years, you have many more because we have quite a few projects going on. The one Bangkok, Dusit Central Park, and we have Makassar Complex, which link to the EEC project. So you see a lot of office space available for, hopefully, in the future, maybe more multinational corporation move to Bangkok with this available of the office space. And the office space, maybe it's not good, but I think it's maybe, our office space is quite low, the rental, comparing to other countries, right? Like if you look at Hong Kong, like $250 per square foot per year, Bangkok only $44 per square foot per year, right? So I mean, I think the cost of renting office much lower, and we have ample supply. So hopefully this one might be something good for business to move. You look at other things like cultural thing, leisure, work, life balance, and good cost of living here. So maybe that's one thing that Bangkok would be the good destination for investing. And I mean, for tourists, we have a lot of hotel room available, 160,000 hotel rooms, and the price is quite low comparing to other competitive cities, right? And now we have 3 world-class conventions in Bangkok, and in vicinity we have Bitech, we have Queen Sirikit, which just renovated, and we have big areas that we can attract many exhibition and conference, and also impact Muang Thong Thani, even though it's not in Bangkok, in vicinity. So all this will be the strength of Bangkok in the future to attract more investment and more tourism, more MICE activity. And also, you look at the decline. Right now, I would say that last year will be the first year that we have declining population, right? Because, I mean, declining a little bit, but maybe the first time in history. But we still have plenty of workforce that can help us from our neighboring countries, right? I mean, you look at the workforce that construction and in other areas. So we connect to our neighbor and we provide opportunities for them. So I think we don't have too much worry about workforce in the future because we connect to our neighboring countries. Right now, they are accounted for nearly 10% of the total workforce. And I think we have a good healthcare system. Look at the COVID, the past COVID, right? We rank number 28. The lower, the better. And for the COVID infection and death rate, we like 32%. So I think our healthcare handle the pandemic pretty well, and I think it can create trust for the coming future. But what can we do better? I think there's a good and also the bad, right? I mean, there are ease of doing business. I think we are not as high as we wish, like we are number 21. I think the problem would be the rule of law, the regulation that still need a lot of steps to get the license. I think the BMA is part of the problem too. So we have to improve our efficiency in the business process. Corruption would be the biggest issue, I think. We have to admit it, right? I mean, we're ranking 110 comparing to 180, and it's getting worse, not getting better. So as a BMA, we have to be serious about this. Maybe it's one of the first issues that we have to be very, very serious about it to gain the trust and confidence back. So I think corruption would be the thing that we have to start looking at it. I think the proficiency in English is low, right? I mean, ranking number 100 comparing to 112 countries. That's a big problem. So as a BMA school, so we have to improve the quality of the school, actually in language, in the technical knowledge, right? The skill required for future workforce, we are quite low comparing to other countries, right? Critical thinking, we are ranking number 89 from 141. Pupil to teacher, ranking number 56. So all this has to be in our strategy to improve the quality of the school in the BMA. The quality of life, right? We have PM 2.5 issues. Like now you are happy, but wait until November, December, you see more PM 2.5 coming. And we have to be serious about that, right? Because I'll tell you later why the quality of life is so important for the future of the city. Right? I mean, the traffic jam, right? I mean, but I think we're getting better. We used to be at number 1, but now we're number 11, right? Maybe because of the COVID. But still, we spend like 71 hours per year on the road in Bangkok. But I mean, I'm not intending to solve traffic jam in Bangkok, but I want to improve mobility. So we have to not focus on the car, but focus on the alternative of transportation. Like you have to walk better, you have to use public transport better. And we have low green space per capita. I think the WHO require like 9 square meters per person. Right now we have 6.9 square meters. Many of them are rice field too, in Nong Jok or in other area. So when you look only usable green space, we have only like 1 square meter per person, comparing to 9 square meters required by the WHO, right? So I think we have to improve on this green space. And maybe the land tax would be one of the solutions. We put the land tax, and then people maybe can give the land for us to develop the green space temporarily, maybe 7-10 years, until they need the land and get it back. So I think we need to improve on the public space, on the green area. So what is our strategies? What is the BMA strategy to look at this problem, actually for the thing that we need to improve? There's 2 numbers in Bangkok that I think this one we use it for when we develop our policy. So these 2 belongs to Bangkok. Number 1 is we are number 1 tourist destination. We are the most visited city in the world, like by MasterCard. But number 98 is a livability index. Comparing to 140, we are 98. So we are good for short-term visit, right? You can come stay here for 1 week, enjoy the amazing Thailand, amazing Bangkok. But to stay here for a year, maybe not so pleasant, right? So how can we improve 98? How can we be more livable Bangkok, right? And that's the key thing that we don't need to be so smart, but we want to be more livable. Like people have a better quality of life. So we need to improve the number 98. Number 1 is good. We have a tourist industry, right? So the vision of Bangkok, we want Bangkok just to be a livable city for all. If you don't have for all, it's easy, right? I mean, to make Bangkok livable, I think many of us here feel that Bangkok is livable. But you talk about other people, other Bangkok population. So we need to think for everyone. Bangkok has to be inclusive for everyone. So I think the key word would be livable city for all. So with this, we look at EIU index. EIU is an organization that measures the livability index for all the cities. They have 30 in this, but we use it and we develop 9 guiding policies, right, to make it a livable city for all. So we have environment, health, mobility, safety management, infrastructure, economy, creativity, and learning. So these are the key guiding policies for us to develop the framework for Bangkok in the future. And with this framework, so these are the guidelines that we are doing, right? I mean, the environment and the safety, the economic, health, management in the center, the creativity, the mobility, the infrastructure, and the education system. So with all this, we put our policy in, and I think maybe during our campaign, right? I mean, 3 months ago, we put every policy in English too. So we welcome the comment from our friends who come here, our visitors. We want to get the comment from them. So you look at our policy. We put our policy on the website, and we have 216 action plans to respond to this policy. Right? So I mean, if you have time, take a look at our policy, and then you can see the details of our action plan. And they are like, and I think it's dynamic, no? Not limit, only 216. Right now, maybe 220 already. So we increasing dynamic according to the situation. And I think we can get the feedback from you. So I think these all action plans are there, and you can take a look and see what we are planning to do in this coming weeks, months, and years, right? And we can divide into 28 program, right? Open Bangkok, traffic, city planning, all these, the category of these 216 action plans, right? So I think the strategic direction for the economic side, I think right now we focus maybe on the 7 things, right? Creative economy or maybe startup. Tourism, I think it's our main income for the last decade. Health and wellness. Jewelry also another thing that we have export of nearly 500 billion Thai baht each year for jewelry, MICE, right? I mean, we have hotel, we have exhibition center, hubs of MNC. I think in the future, we have to compete for the MNC, multinational corporations to come to Bangkok and use Bangkok as a hub. And I think EEC, when you talk to EEC, you don't think much about Bangkok, right? But I think Bangkok will be the one who get most benefits from EEC. And we have to grab that opportunities. We have to extend our business activity to the east and then include EEC in our action plans too, right? I think, for example, Chaduchak Marketplace, if you've been there, we try to drive it to be the world-class destination. We put new committee in who is more like in the creative industry business, and then try to improve and make it both analog and digital market, right? We try to improve made in Bangkok product, create the platform both analog and digital, and increase the marketability of made in Bangkok products, right? Support Thailand to be jewelry sourcing destination. Yesterday, we just go to the opening announcement of the ceremony to hold the exhibition of Bangkok jewelry sourcing destination. So this kind of thing that is already there. So BMA has to help them improve and then help collaborate with all these business entities to promote their activities, right? And to attract more MNCs from other cities. I think the problem is Bangkok have a quality of living in the middle. So I think the focus of us to improve the quality of living up to the red region with the cost of living remain competitive, right? So in that case, we can compete more with Singapore or more with Hong Kong, but we need to improve the quality of life in Bangkok. We have many festivals, right? We try to have a festival every month to create economic activities for all the people, including the grassroots. We have a movie activity, which hopefully in the future can be listed in the world calendar, competing with other world events, right? And I said, when you look at the EEC project, right, we have the high-speed train connecting 3 airports, Don Mueang, Suvarnabhumi, and Utapao. And you look at the station of these high-speed trains, more than half is in Bangkok. Only maybe 4 or 5 are situated outside Bangkok. So I think we have to grab this opportunity and try to create the plan that maybe the new town, you know, you look at the high-speed train connecting Bangkok to Utapao, you see lots of region in the east coast, east portion of Bangkok, close to this EEC. And you see the city is migrating to the east right now. You see more opportunities happening in Suvarnabhumi area, in Lai Krabang, in Nong Jok area. So I think we have to include ourselves in the EEC project and then try to take advantage of it. Because people won't stay far away from Bangkok. They will stay in Bangkok because we have good school, good hospitals. Create new city to compete with Bangkok, not easy. So I think maybe we try to improve our capacity to serve EEC more. So I think we have to develop our plan and then to get the benefit from EEC projects. Oops. So what are the key projects that we have been doing or we plan to do, right? When you talk about city, what is a city? I think the good definition of city is just primarily a labor market. So without work, there will be no city. So we have to create good works in the city, and it's our role to try to promote that, to bring good company, to bring good investment to Bangkok, right? I mean, Professor Edward Glaser in Harvard put it well, right? In the future, we're not competing for infrastructure. We're not competing for like a BTS or mass transit, but we're competing for talents. So the city has to attract talents to the city, and that's the only way we can survive. If we cannot bring good people, smart people in, we cannot bring smart business in, the city will die. So I think that's our role as a city to improve quality of life. Because when you are talents, when smart people, you can choose where you live. So I think the role of the city to attract smart people and enable them to work collaboratively. So we might not have to design what the city will be. The smart people, smart business will help us design, but we have to provide ecosystem that bring them in to Bangkok. So I think the duty of Bangkok only 4 things. You have to increase productivity. You not be the burden for the business to do in Bangkok. You have to improve quality of life. You have to create opportunity for all, because we have inequality in the city for sure, and they have to build trust. I think the last word is the most important job of the city. You have to create trust for business to come in. You have to create hope for the people that they have good future. So as we start the program with Open Bangkok, right? I think the transparency comes with opening data. So now we start to put everything online. So you can see like the budget we just passed last week. We put our budget online for the first time in history of BMA, you know. Put the budget online during the reading of the council. Put in the format that we can use. So we put the budget online in the CSV and Excel format. And then there are many people who grab this data and interpret that for us, you know. So this is done by other people, like the new generation, who like to see how we spend money. So we just put the data there without any cost, and then people analyze this data for us. They track what money has been used, in which way. So transparency just come by opening data, and that really help the way we do business, you know. And with the data, I mean, they do it in detail, where the money goes, and they're tracking the. So I think the first way to fight corruption, to improve transparency is to open data to all, and that costs nothing, just the mindset, right? So I issue the executive order that all units have to put the data in the readable format, not in the PDF file. Usually we put it in the PDF file, right? So it's like a copy machine that useless to use the data in the future. So it should be a readable file. And then with this, people come and explore our data. So I think the strategy for Bangkok would be open data, open contracting, open policy, open innovation, and open space. Just change the mindset. Let people see what you are doing. And this will, I think, will improve the efficiency of the city for sure. So I think now we will open the contract that we have with all the companies online, right? The policy is already there. We have 216 policies. People now following, have we done as we promised? What is the progress of each policy? With this, I mean, you can increase transparency immediately and innovation, and we provide more space for people to have dialogue and talk. So I think the Open Bangkok would be transparency, accountability, and participatory. So the coming budget next year, because this year we have limited time to do it. Next year we will have participatory budgeting. We will let people involved in deciding what they want. We have zero budgeting, like, because sometimes we just use the budget of last year, increase 5% for the next year, right? So we try to do zero budgeting for certain department and certain district to improve the efficiency of the budget allocation. Anyone use this before? Traffic fondue. Nobody use it? No, there use it. So traffic fondue is an amazing thing, you know. It really changed the way we work in BMA. Traffic fondue is an application, just the mobile application. It has developed by the Ministry of Science long time ago, like 3 or 4 years ago, but nobody used it. So it's just the application that you can take pictures of the problem you see in Bangkok. You see the problem with the footpaths or the street or the flooding, you take a picture and you send it to BMA. So if you put the location, the GPS location, and it will tell you which district this problem is, and you can write a small description to inform the problem. We call it traffic fondue. So simple, you know. Everyone has a mobile phone. You can take picture. Okay, you see the communication line, so bad, take picture, send it. And the problem report to the center. So how it changed? How it changed the way we doing business in BMA, right? I mean, usually BMA, we have a silos. I mean, as many civil service organizations, we have department, we have district, not connected together. So everybody is silo. So we use digital technology to penetrate these silos and make it more efficient. So there's no silo, so everything is seamless, connecting through digital platform. Previously, we do business as a pipeline, right? We had the problem. Because right now, if I go jogging every morning, and people know that I jog in the morning, right? So there will be people waiting for me. Governor, and send me the letter. I have a problem at my house, right? So people send me the letter while I jog, so I receive the citizen problem to the governor. So after I read, okay, Deputy Governor, you handle this. Deputy Governor, okay, the Permanent Secretary, go. So there's a line of command, and it might take 2 months to solve the problem because we have pipeline connecting. And that's a civil servant. A civil servant, we always do this, right? I have to sign many documents, right? Sometimes it takes 1.5 months for the document to reach me. They have like 12 signatures before. So they have like, I think you know that. If you are in the private, you might not experience this, right? But if you are in the civil servant sector, you see that there are so many people before you. Maybe it takes 1.5 months for the letter to reach me because you have the pipeline for the thing to go. And sometimes if you have big pipe, you have good connection, your problem will be solved quickly. But if you are like grassroots, you don't know anyone, your pipe will be very small, you know. So it goes very slow, sometimes got stuck somewhere. So very inefficient. But that's the way we do business in the civil servant sector, right? In the public sector. I think this is the way that there's a problem. Why so delay in solving the problem for BMA? Some problem remain there for years, never been fixed. Sometimes the problem report just under the carpet and nobody see it, right? So once you change this to platform, from pipeline to platform, I think business done this long time ago. When you see Amazon, you see eBay, you see PayPal, it's a platform that you just throw your demand in, and people will grab the demand and provide service for you. So there's no pipeline connecting. You just throw what you want in the platform. So the traffic fondue changed the way we do business, right? From pipeline to platform. So when people send the problem in, it appears on the platform. You can see all these complaints from Bangkok people. The first day we opened traffic fondue, right? This application. The first day I was confirmed by the Kokoto, the election committee. There are 20,000 reports, you know. They crash our website because we don't expect that going to be that so many people complain. And up to today, right, for today, there are 131,000 complaints, 3 months, through this traffic fondue, right? 131,000 complaints through this application. And we solve it, like 70,000, we already solved it. Without me ordering any signature, you know. I don't have to order anything because once it's on the platform, you see, every officer see, every district know that this problem appear. And we know how long it stay there. So I know which district is more efficient, which district is delayed, right? So, and this one is really increase the transparency and increase the productivity of the Bangkok. And it changed the mindset of the civil servant in each department. Because they cannot wait, they have to solve the problem. And it costs us nothing. The application is free, done by someone else. The fixing of the problem is also, we have to fix it anyway. But instead of 2 months, we fix it in 1 day. So the same budget. And they really change the way people do business in the So I think some simple technology really changed the way we work, and it improved the quality. And just a simple thing. And I think this one is truly democratic system, right? Because each complaint, you don't know it's a friend of me or who, because it's a binary, it's just a digital. So in digital, in binary, everyone is equal. There's no the friend of governor there. We don't know which one is the friend of governor. You have to treat each complaint equally. So that's the really true democratic system. And it improved the trust of the people to our service. So I think that the 3 months you see lots of change with just introduction of this application and the commitment from the management that you have. And I know I opened, this district, why it's so delayed. And now it expands not only to Bangkok, because there are other services connected to Bangkok, like police, the Metropolitan Electric Authority, MEA, the water. So now they all connect to this traffic Phongdu. So if the problem comes, so we can directly connect to them, and they solve the problem. So now traffic Phongdu expand to other organizations too, and really change the way we are working now, right? And each district, they have to dedicate like 3 persons to look at traffic Phongdu. Every morning, they look how many reports had been fixed, who gonna fix it, and then respond quickly. So this is the way we change the business. One-stop service, I think when you have to visit so many people for approval, that causes corruption because you have lots of personal judgment, right? So we will provide one-stop service that you just put document in one location and get approval through the process. And I think this one might sound simple, right? We have, the first time I came 3 months ago, we have music in the park. It used to be there, but maybe not lots of promotion or activities. But we start movies, music in the park every week in many parks, And it really increased the spirit of the people, They feel that city is more pleasant. They have activity other than going to the department store. So lots of things going on, and I think the people happy with such a simple thing, You see the value of the public space, you see the beautifulness of the city, and you can enjoy life, and then people feel that the city has already changed. Just some simple things that's going on. And we have like a movie in the park and create lots of economic activity from the street vendors. Like something that we don't have to invest anything, but it really changes the spirit, the feeling of the people. And I think this is the way that we unite people together. We just have now the festival this month will be science and festival technology. So you see many things going on around Bangkok about technology and festival with cooperation of from many companies, right? We start to look at the creative districts. For each district have local identity, put some creativity in it, and now we can create another destination for economic or tourism, right? So we look at many districts. We expect for 50 districts and then create a creative economy into this district. Maybe more tourists and then more products coming out. And then we will start joining with the private sector, right? We can do the Korao, used to be in the country level, never been in the province level before. But now we will create Korao, Kotomo, Bangkok Joint Committee. Because I think I'm sure that the driving force of Bangkok is not BMA, but more on the private sector. They create more jobs, they create many opportunities. So we have to work with them and see the direction. So we don't know what Bangkok should be in the future. We have to talk to the investors, talk to the private sector, and give us the idea and then work together, right? So we collaborate with the Federation of Thai Industry, Board of Trade, and the Thai Banker Association. And then we have the joint committee coming soon, maybe next week or coming 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah. I think after this, I think the trust will be the key thing that we have to provide. We may not be providing many fancy things for the city, but we have to create trust. And it's a future the currency of the future. Yesterday, I happened to meet the president of Minibear company. He just came to visit. We know during the flooding time, I was the Ministry of Transport, right? And I talked to him, and then Minibear is expanding a lot in Bangkok, in Thailand, right? They're investing a lot. I asked him why you invest so much in Bangkok? Why don't you move? Because he experienced big problem during the flood, right? Minibear during the flood last time, 2014. And he said, because we treat him well, we give him confidence that time. So he trusts us. He wants to be part of us, So look at the Minibear. After the big flood, he's still employing, he's still investing more and more, right? Right now they're employing like 38,000 employees, creating lots of economy, creating more factories. Why? Because they have trust in us. So I think the future role of Bangkok, I think we have to create trust for the people that we're ready to help them. We're not the burden for them. So come to Bangkok and we will help them and collaborate with them. So I think trust will be the key thing that we have to create. Right? I mean, you see a lot of opportunities and then happiness. This is music in the past, right? So what is the ongoing issues? There are some issues that investors might be worried. And I think now the one thing that really changed the way we collect tax would be the land and building tax, right? We used to collect tax on revenue. We call it ภาษีโรงเรือน which is we calculate from the revenue of the land. If you rent the house, you collect 12.5% from that revenue. But now we change that scheme to the property and land tax. So no matter how much you gain the revenue from the property, you get taxed by the evaluation of the value. So it really changed the way we do tax. It happened during the COVID. We reduced it. The government reduced it 10%, but now we fully put it to fully 100%. So you see this impact onto some companies soon. And at the BMA, we will fully collect them as much as possible. Right now, we have only 60% of database being done. But I think in the coming year, we will increase the collecting rate to be 100%. So you see more. And because the two schemes is totally different, The first scheme is based on the revenue. The second scheme based on the evaluation of your value. So these two tax might be totally different. So the cost incurred to the company might be different. So you have to think carefully about this. And you can see this in many land in Bangkok, especially in the central district. You see many banana plants. Don't be surprised. It's just to avoid tax. If you plant enough banana trees, you get less tax. That's a Thai system, because they have some rules that if you plant this banana tree number, you become an agricultural land, so you get very low tax. So you see this part of land a lot in CBD, and we try to solve this problem, try to get the real tax from them, but not issue resolved yet. So we are working on this. So I think land and property tax will be one thing that in this coming year will have some effect on the companies, right? The zoning will be changed, right? I mean, we have the zoning of the city plan existing. It's supposed to be coming out this year, but because of the change of the law, it had to go back and restart the process. So it may take another 2 years for the city planning to get to the new draft. So it takes some time. But as I said, we see more development on the east side of Bangkok because connecting to the EEC. So this zoning not in effect yet, but soon it will come in effect. So you have to look at this. It might affect your land bank and your future development. And I think we have some issues about the Green Line project. I think many investors will be concerned. So I think at the BMA, we have to be fair to every stakeholders. So it might take a little bit of time because there are many parties involved, right? I mean, there are like council, member council, BMA council member that we have to consult, and we have to look at the law and regulations. So it might take maybe a few weeks or months to get the issue resolved. But we will be fair to everyone. So these are 3 ongoing issues. So I think the key success factor after 3 months, we know that we don't have so much resources, BMA itself, right? We have limited budget, we have limited authority. But I think the success will be in the collaboration process with other entities, other private sectors and stakeholders. So during the last 3 months, we have been consulting with many people, like BMA, academic side, industry or private sector, and the citizen. So we're joining hands together, and I think we really change the way we're doing business. You see lots of unity coming. We are like united together, right? We start the first day we go to anti-corruption. So I think that's our first issue. We have to be transparent. We have to address corruption seriously. Otherwise, we cannot bring trust to the city hall, right? And then we go to many things like federal Thai industries, National Housing Authority, another issue that we have to think, DGA, like transforming the government to be digital, like Trade of Thailand, the NSTDA technology. So we talk to many people. I think collaboration will be the key thing. And I would like to hear from all the private sectors and the companies too, because I think you know better than us in many areas. So I think we have to listen to you and then join force together, and we help you and you help us in providing the better city. So I think this is important too. After 3 months, right, I talked to my staff, and I talked to, the council member of the BMA too. I think our task during the last 3 months that I talked to people, and our task right now is not limited only to the BMA or to the city itself, but I think we have to restore trust, confidence, and hope in the democratic system. We have to be, I think if we do it well, if our team do well, if the council member do well, we can restore trust in the democracy system. Which I think a lot of Thai people lost that confidence during the last decade, So I think we have to prove that election, democracy is still powerful. It can still be the solution for the city. If you can have good policy, you have good solution, you can bring city better through this process. So I think our job is not only for the city, but for the system as a whole. I think that's bigger than our role right now. So I think we try to do our best, and hopefully you can see change in Thailand politics. Hopefully we can see change. We can see that people will focus more on policies, on people-centric. I think the politics will change. I think new generation will join. Because me as an independent candidate, we can accomplish this with good policy, good thinking, good team. So I think anyone can do it. So hopefully our mission is not only for Bangkok. And yesterday I went to the one event, and this kid hugged me, hugged me more than my son ever did to me, Hugged me, and I think that's what we are doing, We have to provide future for our kids. We have to hand a good city to our kids, not the polluted one, not the corrupted one. We have to land a good city to them. And that's our task today. All right. So hopefully in the future we can make Bangkok a livable city for all. And we cannot do it on ourselves. We have to join hands and work together. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chachat, for a very fruitful information. So Bangkok is now ready for reopening. Ladies and gentlemen, next we will have a lunch break for 1 hour. The buffet will be held at 2 places. First place is Salvia at the mezzanine floor, which we know it as a M floor, and the dining room on the lobby floor. The afternoon session will start again in this ballroom starting at 1 p.m. onwards. So I hope you all enjoy your lunch. Thank you.